shattered sense of security in a community devastated by domestic terrorism.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
22 lives cut short in El Paso. More than 24 others changed forever.
It was crazy. There was bodies, people running out of the store.
And the investigation into the gunman uncovers his close connections to North Texas. Good evening, everyone. Doug Dunbar here. Tonight, as we go on the air, we're learning the president will be visiting El Paso. That's going to be happening on Wednesday this week. Meanwhile, the suspected shooter, 21-year-old Patrick Crucius of Allen, is now charged with capital murder. He is being held without bond. We have a team of reporters working the story for us tonight. Live coverage will get underway with Ken Molestina, who joins us in El Paso at this hour. Ken?
Doug, so a lot of new information coming out just within the last hour as it pertains to the victims and the suspected shooter, as well as you mentioned. We are learning that he has been given a court-appointed attorney. He told investigators that he hasn't held a job for about 5 months. We're also learning more again about the victims and all of this information coming out as people continue to show up here to the scene of this attack to pay their respects and to pray and hold vigil. Now, of course, we know that the current death toll right now sits at 22, with 2 more deaths added to that list earlier today. At a news briefing, officials said 7 of those casualties are Mexican citizens who were here in El Paso. They were visiting and they were shopping on Saturday. We know that 15 others remain in the hospital. 2 of those are being described as still being critical. Now, just a little bit ago, a full list of the names of these victims has been released. We can tell you that the fire chief here in El Paso, he even talked about how their response is now shifting into something more long-term by establishing what they're calling the El Paso Resiliency Center. This is for anyone that's being affected by this tragedy. They can seek help and resources there far beyond the next coming days here in this city. Now, as we mentioned, the president will be visiting here. This is news that a lot of people have been talking about throughout the day. El Paso's Mayor Dee Margo responded to questions earlier today at that news briefing of what kind of a reception the president might receive here. Have a listen.
He is the President of the United States. So in that capacity, I will fulfill my obligations as Mayor of El Paso to meet with the President and discuss whatever our needs are in this community, and hope that if we are expressing specifics, that we can get him to come through for us.
So for folks who may not be familiar, I should tell you that El Paso sits on the border with Ciudad Juarez. This is a predominantly Hispanic community, a binational community, and when you talk to people here, they'll tell you that they believe, at least in part, Doug, that some of the rhetoric that the president has put out there in regards to immigration, that they believe that that had something to do, it encouraged the attack that happened here yesterday, or 2 days ago. So you can understand why you have all that mixed emotion coming out of the folks here, including political leaders. The mayor, Beto O'Rourke, presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke, who is from this town, he has also said that he does not want the president visiting here. But again, that visit appears to be slated for Wednesday. Doug?